Our next guest is a leading global expert on flourishing with diabetes and international inspirational speaker. In 2015, she was given the International Diabetes Federation Award for Education and Advocacy. She is sharing a flourishing approach to diabetes with health professionals around the world, and she is helping people with diabetes live an exceptional life, not despair. But because of their diabetes, she is an author, a journalist, health coach, and an industry advisor. Please welcome Riva Greenberg.
Good afternoon. I'm delighted to be invited here today, and I'm sort of hoping that this mane of hair will make me an honorary lion. Maybe. I'd like to start by doing something that most people will tell me is foolish, but hey. I'd like us to take about 30 seconds and have you introduce yourself to two people sitting right next to you. To your right, to your left, behind, in front of you. Go.
My name is Al. I'm Maureen's husband. Hey, Riva, I'm Al.
Hi, I'm Riva.
Hi, I'm Gudrun.
Hi, Gudrun. I'm Riva. Nice to meet you.
That's my wife.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I know her, of course. Yeah, the husband, really.
Okay, can I have you back, please? So here's the statistic. This is why it's foolish. Here's the statistic. 1 in 3 people has diabetes or pre-diabetes. In case you missed that, 1 in 3 people has diabetes or pre-diabetes. And of all the people who have pre-diabetes, 9 out of 10 don't know they have it. Could be you, your spouse, child, neighbor, friend, parent. Prediabetes is a condition where your blood sugar is higher than normal, but not yet high enough to be called type 2 diabetes. But at the same time, if you have prediabetes, your body is already being damaged. 425 million people globally have diabetes, type 1 and type 2. Many will die of a heart attack, lose a limb, lose their vision, have kidney disease. And for most people, type 2 diabetes is preventable. If we screen for it, let people know if they're at risk, and teach them healthier behaviors. That's what Lions Club Foundation is doing in collaboration with the International Diabetes Federation. Gary mentioned it. And the IDF is 230 organizations from 170 countries around the world, raising diabetes awareness and making it easier for people to have access to healthcare and medicine. You also heard briefly on the video that type 2 diabetes is a condition where your body doesn't use insulin effectively. We actually call it insulin resistance. Type 1, your body no longer makes any insulin. That is what I have, type 1 diabetes. I was diagnosed at 18. I've had it for 47 years. If you're quick, you know how old I am. If you're not, I'm not going to tell you. Like in the video, I must inject insulin every time I eat to cover the food that will break down into sugar in my body. I do that throughout the day, often about 6 times a day, because I have to keep my blood sugar from going too high and too low as best I can. And what you didn't hear in the video is, if it goes particularly too low, I could die. Any day, any time of day. My advocacy work in diabetes includes having written 3 books and hundreds of articles, speaking to tens of hundreds of people with diabetes, and I'm sharing with healthcare providers a different way of working with people who have diabetes so that they engage people, connect, and help foster people's sense of doing well with this condition so that they actually don't necessarily cope with diabetes, but they flourish. I call it the flourishing approach. I'm also, as was mentioned, a member of the Blue Circle Voices. And the Blue Circle Voices is the patient advocacy group of the International Diabetes Federation. We are 130 people with diabetes, loved ones and caregivers around the world. And we report on the state of diabetes in our country, on things like if people can get medicine, governmental policies, healthcare accessibility, and we also do Service Project, just like you Lions. But there's something you didn't hear on the video of Tom. And that's how living with diabetes every day, particularly type 1, day in, day out, year in, year out, checking your blood sugar multiple times a day, making hundreds of decisions to try to make sure it doesn't go too high or too low, takes an emotional toll. So I want to tell you about a service project. A young woman with type 1 diabetes in Costa Rica developed, she just ran it last month, a 3-day adventure camp in Costa Rica. And it's interesting because I see the Lions are really interested in helping to work with diabetes camps. So Daniela, who ran the camp, has type 1 diabetes, and she's a psychologist. And I got to play a small part in the camp. So kids did physical feats, like climbing up enormous trees and rappelling down. And then she used, here a little plug for me, she used my first book, The ABCs of Loving Yourself with Diabetes, around all the activities the kids did. Because these kids in Costa Rica never before had an opportunity to share their feelings, to share their fears, their worries, what goes on for them emotionally, which really is a huge part of living with diabetes. So I'm so proud and so touched by what she did. This book is inspirational essays, so kids got to see that they're strong on the outside and strong on the inside. And people talked about how they've been bullied by taking out their glucose meter and checking their blood sugar. Or one girl, Yanara, who talked about how scared she is, not just for herself, but her parents, who are living with such grief for her. And then Daniela wrote to me and said, in your narrations in the book, I have found healing, peace, and joy. And after camp, I can say, it is not only me who has felt it, but all 85 people at camp, including the medical and the camp staff. I am lucky. I am healthy. Diabetes has given me the motivation to take good care of myself, to eat well, to exercise. And I am, in a way, thankful to it for that. In fact, I told you I've had diabetes 47 years, and I've already signed up for my 50-year type 1 medal that the Joslin Diabetes Center in Boston gives out for living with type 1 diabetes for 50 years. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I want you to know that last year was the first time, well, this is a piece of good news. They used to give out medals if you lived with type 1 diabetes for 25 years. They no longer do that. They downgraded it to a certificate. Why? So many people with type 1 diabetes are living past 25 years. And last year, they gave out a medal to the first man for living with type 1 diabetes 80 years. So I figure I'll be 98, possible. People with diabetes really do not have to lose their lives to this disease, or their eyesight, their kidneys, or their limbs. They do not have to live with shame or guilt, as so many people do, or live in isolation or fear. Not if we educate the public, make screening available, and create community resources. This morning, remotely, behind my computer, I shared my flourishing approach with 50 healthcare providers who work in Uganda, Africa, where people don't even have test strips to check their blood sugar. And it was enormously rewarding because I believe the doctor-patient relationship is critical, consequential to people's health, and is as important as access to medicine and test strips. When I was diagnosed at 18, lying in the hospital for 4 days, I had a doctor who was really cold, told me all the complications I was going to get. And one day my parents were standing by my bedside where he had just said some such thing, and my father became irate. And he said to him, "Don't you realize there's a person in that bed, not just a disease?" Now I help healthcare providers realize that this hardware between us and their patients is critical. Diabetes will increase 54% in the US in 10 years. Its global cost will be $2.2 billion. It is bankrupting families, countries, economies. I welcome you in your community to get involved, which is what I know Leos and Lions do. And I have to say, last night I got to meet some incredible people. I know you're all incredible. But Jose made me promise I would say hello today. Hello, Jose. And if you are doing something in your community and you want a member of the Blue Circle Voices to help you, just go online and contact the International Diabetes Federation. Go on their website, look up Blue Circle Voices, and contact them. They will be very happy to hook you up with someone who has diabetes or a loved one or a caregiver. You can change a life so a parent doesn't leave their children too soon, so a child doesn't grow up in fear, so they know they can live with this condition, and maybe even one day sit on the United Nations stage. You may never know how you touch someone's life, and I know you know this, but you do, and they know it. So just as my father, who passed away last year, supported me in that hospital when all hope appeared to be gone, I salute you for what you do. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Riva, for your update on our partnership and for sharing your own personal story with us. We look forward to continuing to work together. President Goodwin would like to present you with a Lions Peace Poster plaque.